The three timelines in dark explained. We have H.C. Tannhaus's son. He has an accident with his family, and H.C. Tannhaus then wants to create a time machine in order to bring him back. So we have the original timeline coming in here. Now, he turns the time machine on, and from this moment on, he splits his reality into two alternative realities. The first one is the one we will come to know as the Adam timeline. The second one is then the Eva timeline. They cause each other, and you also probably know already that in these timelines are individual loops again, because in the beginning we have something that causes the end and the other way around. So now we have these two time loops, which are actually one bigger time loop. The beginning timeline is basically my arm, then we have the time loop in between, and then we theoretically have again the additional timeline, not the additional timeline, but the original timeline that just continues. So basically we have one big bowl in the middle and the two original timelines in the left and in the right. So now the problem is that there are actually not three timelines at all, but there is actually only one. Let me explain. If the two separate timelines within the bubble, within the time loop, cause something, that is actually causing then the original timeline to never split into these two, and this is happening because Adam and Eva, or Jonas and Martha, actually come out of this time loop and stop the accident from happening. Therefore, H.C. Tannhaus, the original time machine's creator, which was not really a time machine, but much more the reality splitting thing, actually then never created this whole loop. So therefore, this whole loop is basically non-existent. So the whole series basically focuses on something that didn't really exist actually, because there are two versions the original timeline could continue. The first version is we have the original timeline, and then we have the accident, and this causes these two timelines. Let's make it like this, these two timelines. But now, if something comes out of these two timelines, which is basically again the loop, and causes the original timeline not to split into these two, you could argue that the thing in between didn't exist. So therefore, we either now have an alternative second timeline that is kind of the result of the time loop happening, and also H.C. Tannhaus creating the time machine and then the time loop, we have an alternative second timeline up here. But if also this thing in the middle causes this one, causes basically itself, then you could also argue that the whole thing again didn't actually exist, and therefore we have just one consistent timeline without the accident. And then this would mean that the accident actually didn't really happen, and also the whole time loop with the two separate distinct timelines also didn't happen.